Welcome to Electric Football, and
Yay!
guess what? It is the review of Week 4. We are setless because we wanted you to see the beauty that is the man cave of the Cosmo
This
Club.
is it. Welcome to the Cosmos Club of Fairlawn, your Italian-American club.
And please don't just wander in and ask to use the bathroom if you're not Italian or American.
You're not allowed.
Anyway, reviewing last week.
Right, here's our bullet point review. I don't know if you're not used to it yet. It's quick one-liners, and then we're out of here.
The Browns stay competitive, but can't actually win in the Thursday night game against the Ravens.
Incredibly boring game, except for the fact that Trent Richardson finally got me some fantasy points. Couldn't believe, against Baltimore, I got some points.
He's going to be a hell of a player.
I love him.
Patriots wipe out the Bills, but it was closer than the 52-28 score would appear. Tom Brady sort of woke from his amnesia late in the fourth quarter and started just winging touchdown passes.
This was uber competitive. No, it wasn't. The Patriots just won the division with that game, by the way. If you saw the rest of the games?
Speaking of the rest of the games, the 49ers put a big-time spanking on the Jets. When Buddy Ryan announced you've got a winner in town when he took over as the head coach of the Cardinals, he went 8-8 and then 4-12, and then he went bye-bye with a question about whether he was handling the quarterbacks well. And my question to you is, like father, like son.
Tony Sparano was able to convince Miami Dolphin fans that he was not head coach material.
So let's see. The Seahawks
and the Rams.
And the Rams won that game. It's just a schizophrenic NFC West this year. I don't know what to do with it, Stu.
I hate Pete Carroll, so pretty much I like the way it ended.
The Falcons took care of the Panthers 30-28. Cam may do the Superman pose, but it's the Falcons that are now flying at 4-0.
Yeah. Who'd have thunk it was going to be this close? I really didn't think it was. But, you know, these divisional games, I think they play at a little higher level when they're playing each other. And I love the red Atlanta hats. Wear those caps more often.
Yeah, the old school Atlanta uniforms are the best ever.
Absolutely.
Speaking of great uniforms, my Vikings pulling out over the Lions. Stu believed in them. I didn't. And yes, I'm a Viking fan even though I wear a Browns jersey. Long story. So we could have been undefeated so far if we'd only beat the Colts. And
I can't believe you didn't beat them.
I'm almost ready to jump in and have hope again, but I'm not going to do it yet because Lucy always pulls the ball away from Charlie Brown.
Well, we both picked the Vikings because the Lions really suck. And is this the best year to have Matt Stafford on your fantasy team? No. Good for me.
The Chargers took care of the Chiefs, and this is one of those, they got to play these games so it's a complete season, but it's really not going to matter in the end games.
Oh dear, Scott Pioli thought that Matt Castle was the answer to his quarterback woes. Well, you better call the police, Scott, because you robbed yourself.
The Texans beat the Titans, even though Chris Johnson, who I've been ripping on all year, actually had a decent game, which just means the Titans are bad even when he has a good game.
Yeah, the Texans beat the old oil riggers in a game that was described as a football game.
The Bengals 27, the Jaguars 10. The Bengals are pretty good this year, but this game doesn't prove it. Beating the Jaguars doesn't show you much.
38 yards for MJD, and that tells the whole story right there. If he's not running, nothing's happening.
So let's see. The Broncos beat the Raiders pretty handily. Peyton's best game of the year, and it sets up a nice big matchup next week with Tom Brady.
Who can breathe in Denver for criminy sakes? There's no air there. Oakland needs Al Davis to... oh, never mind.
The Cardinals beat the
Dolphins
24-21, and the Dolphins' new theme song is "Give it away, give it away, give it away now."
Well, whose DBs suck worse, Miami's or the Cardinals? They both have stingy run defenses, and they both have really porous secondaries. They both need to address that.
The Redskins outlasted the Buccaneers 24-22, and it's just a question of RG3 being a little bit better than Josh Freeman.
Yeah. Schiano forgot to tell the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that every play they got to play hard.
Let's see. The Packers 28. The Saints a surprising 27.
And 0-4.
Are the surprising 0-4? To me, at least, not to Stewart so much.
No.
But are the Packers what they once were? If so, how'd the Saints?
I hate the Saints.
How'd the Saints put such a scare into them? Turn into how do the Saints?
Well, I mean, the Saints were playing the ball that they usually play when they're winning. The problem is they were playing the Packers, and they lost by one. I mean, that was a good game for New Orleans.
Yeah, it could actually be a moral victory for New Orleans, or it could be a sign that the Packers have slipped since last year.
That could be too.
Uh,
Good point.
Giants 17, Eagles 19. The Giants have 8 sacks this year. J.J. Watt of the Texans has 7.5. If the defensive line for the Giants doesn't pick it up a little bit, they're in long-term trouble.
Well, they didn't set the edge, and if you notice, it almost looked like the offensive line was letting the pass rushers in, and Vic was just scooching around because the sides were open all day long. He had a lot of open field.
There you go. They shut down the running game in the first half, that's for sure, but not in the second half.
Right.
So we finished the week with the Bears 34, the Cowboys 5 interceptions for Tony Romo. So the Cowboys ended up with 18, but a horrible game for Romo, and the lynch mobs in Dallas are trying to decide, do we go after Tony? Do we go after Jason? I think Jerry Jones is going to go after both of them pretty soon.
Yeah, I can't see them being here next year. But again, the Bears, schizophrenic Cutler and Marshall. One week they can't complete a pass together, and the next week, it's 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't get them. But
good enough for last week.
Dallas has troubles.
That's for sure.
Yep.
And that is Electric Football.
Wait, before we go, I always forget to mention this, so I'm throwing in this here now. First of all, our email is electricfootballshow@gmail.com. So you have questions, comments, dirty pictures, that's the email address to send it to.
For the dirty pictures, put attention stew on that.
And by dirty, I mean, filthy pictures of dogs playing in mud. Also, we have my buddies at the Fin Nation, www.finnation.com. If you're a Dolphin fan, check it out. And of course, if you want to match wits, if that's even possible.
We'd have to have wits for you to match them with.
Yeah, well, we've got wits, but they're not good. We are at www.fairlawn-saddlebrook.patch.com. It's all in front of you, but I want to say it out loud because I think it's worthwhile.
Say it loud, say it proud. That was Electric Football's Week in Review.
We'll be right back with the Week 5 preview.